What's going on, guys? We are now streaming a game here. I am still going to be doing the live at 5 stream with some recorded gameplay from me playing a ninja deck against Warrior, but this time we are going to be doing a live stream here, actually. And this time we have Tobias on the left with Kano versus Eternal on the right with Bravo, and we're going to be streaming a game of Blitz. So Kano right now is considered one of the top decks in Blitz, a little difficult to use. Actually, maybe a lot difficult to use. I think a lot of players have found it challenging to play this hero effectively. But at the same time, he has a lot of potential. He really has a lot of power with some of the cards that he can do for the big arcane damage hits. That's very difficult to defend against. And the extra part is that it is really useful for the instant speed attacks. So Kano's ability here is Kano's ability as an instant, look at the top card of your deck. If it's a non-attack card, you may banish it. If you do, you may play it this turn as though it were an instant. So not only can he do this big arcane damage, but he can do a lot of it on the opponent's turn, which is really nasty, difficult to deal with. So in this situation, he's going to lead off the turn. He plays a Time Snap Potion. He then uses Kano's ability, revealing a Lesson in Lava, and plays it. He's coming in for 3 arcane damage. And if it deals damage, he will be able to search his deck for a wizard card with cost equal to or less than the damage dealt, reveal it, and then shuffle his deck and put it on top. So in this situation, he would then be able to pitch the blue card that he has in hand to reveal that card with Kano's ability and then play it as long as it's free. And it looks like the opponent here, Eternal, is going to pitch up to 5. Okay, and then block with 2 energy left over. Interesting. I think he's trying to get those cards out of his hand. That's a nice little move. I think he's trying to get an all-blue hand maybe to play that Towering Titan. Not sure, because he is going to draw up at the end. So we saw him block there inefficiently in order to cycle more cards. A little advanced play there. And it does look like he's going for the Towering Titan. Wow, this is bold. He got the all-blue hand that he wanted using that filtering technique. And now he plays a Towering Titan. At the beginning of your action phase, destroy this, and then the next Guardian attack action card you play this turn gains +8. This is a crazy card, and he's clearly coming in to try to do huge damage to our wizard friend. On the other hand, Eternal has now used all of his cards. He doesn't have anything left. This could be a chance for Tobias to get some serious damage in by using his ability on Eternal's turn, but he doesn't do it. I don't know. I think personally I would have gone for Kano triggers there. Tried to get some damage in when the opponent's defenses are down. That's not what he went for, though. Ooh, what's happening here? Wow. Such bad luck. After playing out the Towering Titan, destroy it, and then the next Guardian attack action card you play this turn gains +8. He draws a hand with no attack actions. It looks like he thought it was his turn, which is not right. It's his opponent's turn. But he has drawn an extremely poor hand. Probably his best move is going to be to play this Blessing of Deliverance. Because when this enters the arena, if you have a card in your pitch zone with cost 3 or greater, draw a card. And then you have a chance, like if he pitches one of those unmovables to play it, then he has a chance to top deck an attack that he can play with the buff from Towering Titan. Unfortunately, Towering Titan destroys itself. You can't save it. So if he doesn't hit a card, if he doesn't hit something he needs with that top deck, he'll get heavily punished. Although he could potentially use this Showtime. No, wait, no, it doesn't have Go Again. Just kidding. Yeah, he's gonna be in some trouble here. And this Aether Spindle coming in for 5 damage, and then it gets to opt 5. And Eternal opts to just take the damage. I think that he is planning on trying to do a big attack with that Towering Titan, but he's just given his opponent the opportunity to opt 5, which is a very risky situation. So opt is look at the top X cards of your deck. You may put them on the top or bottom or in any order. So opting 5 is going to allow Tobias here to guarantee that he will have exactly what he wants on top of the deck for a potential trigger of Kano's ability, and that could be very dangerous. So we're going to have to see what happens there. Definitely something that's going to be pretty cool, I think, for Tobias getting to opt 5 cards, and now he's going to get to use whatever he decided. So he uses Kano's ability and then uses a Tome of Aetherwind, and it looks like he's going to choose to draw 2. So now he's drawn 2 cards. And then I think this could be even more stuff here. I think we're going to see that snapback played in all likelihood. And this is kind of the power of Wizard in some of these situations. Like, he's doing all this stuff as instants. So he's going to use his Kano ability again. And because of that opt 5, he really knows what's going on with this stuff, at least in theory. And then, oh man, follows up with another Ether Spindle coming in for 4. Yeah, you know, that's a lot of damage. So 9 arcane damage coming in, and we're gonna see, is Eternal gonna take this? He's gonna just take it. Now this is really aggressive play by Eternal. You know, once you're at 11 life against a wizard, you're really in the danger zone where they can just kill you with a combo. And the fact that he is taking all this damage, and then it's gonna be another big opt for Tobias, is really, I think, putting Eternal in a dangerous situation already in this game. You know, this is like this is turn 2, and he's already in some trouble, I feel. But we'll see what happens here. On the plus side, his Arcanite Skullcap is now enabled, so he could, in theory, defend for 6 here. Little interesting situation. Oh! He uses that Blessing of Deliverance, doesn't hit an attack. Oh, that is just so crushing for him. He says in chat, this is tragic. So this Towering Titan that he used that whole turn to play is unfortunately just going to be, it's going to go to waste. He doesn't have anything that he can play with it. That is really not what you want to see if you're Eternal, and this is a major setback for him at this point. Probably his best move now is going to be to, maybe going to be to just pitch and swing his weapon for 6. But this has certainly left him not, I think, in the position that he most wants to be in. Looks like he lost his hero card somehow. They pulled one from the side. Boy. Very brutal situation here for Eternal. Having that, you know, I think he was so happy to play that Towering Titan. You know, he had that setup where he did the inefficient pitch on purpose so that he could draw into all blues, go for the Towering Titan, and now that he has it, he doesn't have an attack to use it with, even with that extra draw from the Blessing of Deliverance. I think he's going to probably... No, he goes for a Showtime here instead of an Anothos swing. So this is when it enters the arena, search your deck for Guardian attack action card, reveal it, put it into your hand, and then shuffle. At the beginning of your action phase, destroy Showtime, and then draw a card. Looks like he pulls a Crippling Crush. Probably going to take that in hand and then put it in Arsenal. Brutal situation here for Eternal. Ooh, it looks like he definitely should not Arsenal that Unmovable. Normally you would... So Unmovable here, it's a big defense reaction, and it gets buffed if it's played from Arsenal. Really not something that you want to do against a Wizard deck, though, since most of them run no physical damage. Now, one thing that is in Eternal's favor is that his 3 Null Rune plus the Arcane Barrier 3 from his Skullcap actually does mean that he can block 6 damage here, which is pretty crazy. So Kano here using the Eye of Ophidia. This is a Fabled card, super rare. When you pitch this opt 2, the power level of this card is somewhat disputed, but I think it's seen widespread play in Wizard decks at the very least. The downside of this, of course, is that it can't block. The other downside is that it's quite expensive in real money, but the upside of allowing that opt 2 can really help you set up the perfect top deck with Kano. In theory, it would also be pretty good for Azalea, but Azalea's best builds basically don't want to run blue cards almost at all. Like, I've seen Azalea decks that have, like, you know, 2 blue cards and that's it. So the actual resources here aren't needed, and having another card that can't block is horrible for Rangers since their defense is so awful. So then Kano's ability, hitting a Stir the Ether wins. Could be a big turn here. Stir being played. So this is, you may play your next wizard non-attack action card this turn as though it were an instant, and if it has an effect that deals arcane damage, instead that effect deals that much arcane damage plus 3. So then Gaze the Ages being played. It's going to opt 2 and then go back to hand, I guess. A lot of opts here from Wizard. So Gaze the Ages is a Crucible of War card. And it allows you to, all it does is opt 2, which seems kind of bad, but then it additionally, if you've played another Wizard non-attack action card this turn, it goes back to your hand, which is pretty sweet. Because he's able to opt, and then it goes back to his hand, and he can use it to pitch to flip over the card that he has just opted, which is presumably whatever big attack. He pulls the Forked Lightning, 2 arcane damage to target hero, but it's buffed by the Stir, and that's multiplicative. So he uses his Tunic, so then the Stir is giving this plus 3. So then this is 5 plus 5, so it's actually coming in for 10. So 10 damage coming in here. Okay, so 10 damage coming in here. If Eternal takes this hit, he's going to be reduced to 1 life. He's going to have to probably defend. On the plus side, he can actually block 6 of it if he pitches 2 blues from his hand to his arcane damage, because he has arcane barrier 6. He has arcane barrier 3 and then 3 instances of arcane barrier 1. So he can actually prevent a lot of this damage thanks to that Arcanite Skullcap. And it looks like he is going to pitch for 6. But he will still be taking 4 damage, so it's still going to be a hit here. Still going to be a hit. And then he does play his Sigil of Solace from hand, so he's actually only going to take 1 damage from that huge attack. Normally the Stir plus Forked combo is extremely lethal, but in this situation, Nice Guy was very close to the edge on energy, so he didn't have the little bit of extra energy that he needed to use Crucible or Metacarpus Node to buff it even further. And with the 3 Arcane Barrier plus Skullcap, which is a very strong defensive position to be in, Eternal was able to actually tank it. So now we're going to see his potential heals. So this is, at the beginning of your action phase, destroy this and reveal the top 3 cards. Gain 1 for each card with cost 3 or greater. Every single card is cost 3 or greater on the top of the deck, and that is 3 energy healed for Eternal. So, he may have had his big attack plan foiled when he wasn't able to draw an attack for that, Towering Titan, but now he has endured a Stir plus Forked combo, and not only did he barely take any damage, he then healed to be more after the combo than he was before it. So pretty wild situation. On the other hand, he's got to be careful now. There is a risk that he will be hit on his own turn by Kano using that ability, turning up something cool, and zapping away. So he's got to be careful with how he uses his energy. And this is a situation where I think that running a Nothos is actually a bit of a weakness. He uses Kano's ability. Okay. So he goes up. So he uses Bravo's ability and wastes it, and then swings a Nothos for 6. So the reason that he wasted Bravo's ability is because this way he can pitch another card, and then he'll have 2 or more cards in his pitch zone with cost 3 or greater, so he'll get the attack buff from a Nothos. So now he can come in at strength 6, which is pretty strong. The downside is this is going to leave him more vulnerable to potential attacks from the Wizard on his own turn. It might have been better to just take the swing. A lot of people seem to believe that in the Guardian versus Kano matchup, it's actually better to switch to the Sledge of Anvilheim instead of running a Nothos, because with the Sledge of Anvilheim, you can pitch 4 and then swing for 6 and have some floating, and the floating is good to protect you from potential Wizard attacks with Arcane Barrier. And then additionally, you won't have to waste energy on using Bravo's ability to get your attack up to 6. So it's a little bit better. You end up paying 4 for a strength 6 attack instead of paying 5 if you waste Bravo's ability. So that's that's that little bit of extra efficiency, and it's not dependent on drawing high cost cards for pitch. So even if you draw a hand that has cheaper cards, you're still swinging for 6. It's generally considered worse than a Nothos in normal matchups, but in this one, things are a little different. Now, one thing to note is that damage that Tobias just took, the hammer swing landing and hitting him for 6, it does actually mean that he is now lower life than his opponent. And this means that Eternal's Arcanite Skullcap is now disabled. So the Arcane Barrier 3 from Skullcap only kicks in if you have less life than your opponent. And as a result of that, he's not currently in a position where it's actually threatening. So he can only block 3 and not 6. However, it looks like a Rousing Ether coming in for 3. Next card, you would play this turn with an effect that deals arcane damage, instead deals that much arcane damage plus 1. But the Rousing Ether is then blocked for 3. Skullcap not needed. Interesting turn of events there. Let's see what happens next. I have to say I'm not entirely sure. I think 3 Null Rune plus Skullcap is kind of tight, but I'm not sure whether that's better or worse than 4 Null Rune. 4 Null Rune is more consistent, but the adding the Skullcap does let you block 6 in the right circumstance. The problem is the conditionality of the Skullcap is pretty rough. Let's see here. So then there's a Sonic Boom being played. I think this Rousing Ether was played as an instant, and then the Sonic Boom being played normally. So they said 3, but it's actually 4 here. There's a +1 from Rousing Ether. The next card you play with this turn with an effect that deals arcane damage instead deals that much arcane damage +1. So this Sonic Boom is actually coming in at strength 4. All right, so this is that situation that I was discussing where he only has Barrier 3 because the Skullcap isn't active, so he has to take 1, which means this Sonic Boom will trigger. And Tobias will be able to look at the top card of his deck. What? Okay, so he doesn't use the Sonic Boom trigger? Maybe he saw it with some opt earlier and knows that it's not a relevant card? That's a little interesting. And then Eternal's just throwing out an Anothos swing for 4 here. So that is that situation is the one where the Null Rune Hood instead of the Arcanite Skullcap would have allowed him to block that Sonic Boom completely, but for whatever reason, that's not what he went for. This is an interesting matchup. Normally, I think this should be considered a highly unfavorable matchup for a Wizard in a game of Classic Constructed. But here in Blitz, Wizard is definitely a lot more powerful than in the Classic Constructed environment. Okay, so Tobias just takes the damage there. And the Time Snap Potion used here for an extra action. So 2 actions here for Tobias. I'm going to lead off with a Tome of Aetherwind. Probably going to be a draw 2. Yep. That's the mode that I normally see this card used in. Ooh, and he draws the infamous Forked Lightning. This could be an opportunity to do a lot of damage. Yeah, so let's see what's happening. So he has the Forked Lightning here. He could potentially buff it with both his Metacarpus node and his Crucible of Aetherweave, which would take it up to 8 damage. And that would inflict some damage, and then he could potentially follow that up with a Blazing Ether using his Stormstriders and using the Metacarpus node again, which could be a lot of damage potentially. But we'll have to see if that's what ends up happening here. And I think maybe he could actually do, let's see. Yeah, he's thinking of what the best way to do this is. So this Blazing Ether is like a good finishing move, sort of, where it deals X damage, where X is the amount of arcane damage you've dealt to that hero this turn. So if he does a big move and does a lot of damage, he can potentially follow it up with that Blazing Ether to do even more. Uses the Talismanic Lens. This is a common equipment from Arcane Rising. Destroy it to opt 2. Weirdly enough, this little common has become one of the most popular cards for a Wizard player in terms of allowing you to get just the right card out of your deck and set up a great use of Kano's ability from the top deck. And this has become more popular than even strong armor cards like Arcanite Skullcap, which is actually quite strong with Wizard, because the fact that you start on lower life means that it's enabled from its 2 block from the get-go. However, the Talismanic Lens, improving your offense and ability to combo, tends to be more popular. Okay, so he still has 1 action point. He's going to use Kano's ability to flip whatever it was that he just found with the Talismanic Lens. It is a snapback. Okay. He pitches for 2. Maybe he's going to go for a Chain Lightning or the Chain Lightning into Snapback here. Not sure. Yeah, so he could play this Chain Lightning. It's currently strength 3 because it has the +1 from the it would have the +1 because of Tome of Aetherwind. And so that would be coming in at strength 4, and then it would let him play his next card as though it were an instant. No, he goes for the Snapback. Okay. So Snapback coming in at 4 instead. I think this is okay, so then Eternal's going to take 4. Pitches to play the Chain Lightning. So now this is coming in for 3, and you can play your next Wizard non-attack action card this turn as though it were an instant. So coming in for another 3 damage. We'll see if he blocks it. And then he's going to be... Tobias is going to be able to follow that up with Blazing Ether. So if this isn't blocked, it's going to be more bonus damage. Looks like a Remembrance being pitched by Eternal to defend, maybe just defending 2. No, he decides to block the full 3. Okay. So 3 blocked, and then this is going to come in for another 4. So the Blazing Ether, if that Chain Lightning hadn't been blocked, this Blazing Ether would now be coming in for 7, which would be quite bad for Eternal. But it is coming in for 4 instead, because just the damage from the initial snapback. So a more survivable situation. We'll see how he defends it. However, regardless of what happens, it looks like Eternal is going to live for at least 1 turn more, so we'll have to see. I think it's likely that he'll pitch just 1 card to... In fact, I think that's basically what he's got to do. He'll probably just pitch one of his blues, block 3, take 1. Yeah, 1 damage gets through. Okay. Eternal getting dangerously low on life. 7 is not a safe place to be against Kano. On the other hand, his opponent is at only 5 life. Could be interesting to see what's going to happen here. That Arcanite Skullcap not on right now. A Nothos swing coming in for 4. Only 2 energy in the hand to potentially defend, though. This could be an opportunity for Tobias to do some big damage to Eternal. Unfortunately, I think the Crippling Crush in Eternal's arsenal is not going to be played this game, as the pressure of the Wizard means that he's probably not going to have a big enough hand to actually use that, and even if he did, it would open him up to a potential instant speed attack. Why is he playing the Remembrance? Oh man, that is crazy to play. Oh no. Okay, so he does that somewhat wrong. So you're not supposed to do it like that, I think. You're supposed to shuffle in before the pitch card goes to the bottom, so the pitch will still be on the bottom after shuffle. But it's really, really crazy to play this, I think, because it now means he has no cards in hand. And if Tobias can hit him at all, it's going to be pretty crushing. Eternal asks, don't I get last instance priority? I don't know what that means. So, Tobias says, I haven't passed right, and Eternal says, right, rip. Wow, it's a Blazing Ether. Okay, I think that's a good game. I think he can use his Storm Striders to do some damage with the defenses now that the defenses are totally down, and then he can follow that up with the Blazing Ether for the kill. Storm Striders here as one energy, destroy it. You may play your next wizard non-attack action card this turn as though it were an instant, and then he'll be able to follow up and do probably lethal damage, I think. We'll see what happens. There's the pitch. Storm Striders used. Gruder says oof, and yeah, that's it's an accurate one, I think, for this. Yep, there's the Metacarpus node and the Crucible. And we're going to fire off a Scalding Rain here with +2. Scalding Rain coming in for 4, and it's going to be followed up by that Blazing Ether for another 4. No energy on the board. Eternal is dead. That is going to be the game. So, yeah, this was an interesting game here. I have to say, Eternal's got to be feeling sad about missing that Towering Titan, you know. That was... He had that cool move to get that set up, and then it just fell on its face. All right, they're going to do a rematch, though. Let's see whether or not EternalRMG with his Guardian is going to be able to beat Tobias in the rematch. I will keep on streaming for that. While they're setting up, let me just give a little bit of a shout out here. So we got some shout outs to some users who followed the channel during the gap in between my previous stream and this one. So shout out to Zgeif777, to Slyknight24, to Jeremy, and to Tainted Catalyst. So thank you for following. It's good to see people coming out and checking out the channel. And I think I recognize some of those names. Sly Knight is a experienced L5R player, I believe. And Jeremy, also an L5R player. Yeah, Hamertron says, getting those followers up. You have Jeremy and Sly Knight, L5R old school. Yeah, I used to play L5R. I was very competitive in L5R at one time. And, you know, I've kind of leaned away from it, but yeah. Okay, so interestingly here, Eternal is going to try a different loadout this time. So he's going to equip his Tectonic Plating. So the actual armor here is going to do nothing, but the ability to create a Seismic Surge Aura token might be useful to allow him to land bigger attacks. And it will also allow him to more easily enable Anothos for the 6 damage. Just fixing the life totals there for the players. Yeah, actually, fun fact here. I actually got into this game, Flesh and Blood TCG, because of a recommendation from some friends from the L5R community. I think it was... who was it? I think it was For Dream, actually, who recommended this to me, and maybe some other people as well. And I was complaining about not having a game to play and like looking into it, and then this one was recommended to me. I checked it out, and I've been really enjoying it. So, kudos to the L5R crew. Legend of the Five Rings is still being produced, but I am no longer in touch with the meta at all. I think I have probably not played that game on a serious competitive level in something like 2 years, and I probably haven't played it at all in more like a year. So, I am no longer with the meta on L5R, but yeah. So Eternal going for a big attack here on the first turn, ends up going out here with a Cartilage Crush for 5 Dominate. It ends up being blocked for 3, so 2 damage is going to get in. The Crush attack does not go off. Oops. And before he can arsenal a card, though, here comes Kano's ability, revealing a Chain Lightning. Not the strongest at this time, because he has not played another Wizard non-attack action card this turn, so this is really not doing a lot. He could activate it, but it would not do any damage, so he's going to choose to do nothing here, I think. And in the arsenal, we see a copy of Debilitate. Okay. And now we're going to see the wizard player's turn to go ahead here, and an unusually low energy hand from our man Eternal. Both of these times he's used what I would consider slightly interesting or unusual defensive layouts against Wizard. I think the first time with the 3 Null Rune plus Skullcap, and then the second time with the 3 Null Rune plus Tectonic. I think that, at least as I understand this matchup, and to be fair, I'm no expert on Guardian, at least as I understand this matchup, the 4 Null Rune plus the Sledge is maybe the best configuration, though I don't know. You know, maybe you want to do three Null Rune plus Skullcap and Sledge. I don't know. In any case, he's going this time for the Anothos gameplay, so it's going to be interesting to see how that goes. Tome of Aetherwind used... Yeah, so Tome of Aetherwind used, I believe, from Kano's ability. Using it to draw an energy potion is played, and then it looks like another Kano trigger, this time with Gaze the Ages, pitched, not played. What is he finding here? He finds a Blazing Ether. Eternal asked, how did you play the pot? Oh, so actually it was the potion that he played. So he played the... I believe he played the Tome of Aetherwind first for the draws, and then did the Kano trigger, revealing the potion and playing it as an instant. So Kano's ability there, for anyone who's not familiar, 3 energy, look at the top card of your deck. If it's a non-attack action card, you may banish it. If you do, you may play it this turn as though it were an instant. And a potion is a non-attack action card. It is a generic action item. Okay, so a little confusion as to how exactly that works. That's fine. Kano is a kind of confusing hero in some ways. He's one of the more complicated heroes in the game. And looks like not that much else from the turn, though. So not the hugest turn, but he does get that energy potion in play, which is always a nice resource for the future. Meanwhile, we're going to see another Blessing of Deliverance used here. So this is going to draw a card, and then it's going to potentially heal Eternal on the next turn. Also going to help him set up a big swing with his Anothos, I feel. Although, under the circumstances, I might pitch that Remembrance instead, just to get it out of my hand. That's really a card that I don't want to have hanging around. And then just do the swing for 4 instead of pitching the Crush and swinging for 6, though both are options at this time. And perhaps unbeknownst to Eternal, it looks like if we take a quick look at Tobias's hand here, none of the cards that he's drawn are blue, so it's going to be a little awkward for him to use Kano's ability this turn. This might be a good opportunity to just go for the swing for 6. But we'll see, we'll see. There is also another healing card there, another Sigil of Solace. Night Goblin says, no knowledge of the game. I just appreciate your awesome commentary on Star Wars Legion games, so I thought I'd give this a watch. Hey, thanks for the shout out. I do plan on doing some more Legion streams in the future. This game is a lot of fun. If you are interested in learning more about it, I have some kind of intro articles on my blog over at TowerNumberNine.com. But basically, this game is it's a card game where 2 characters are fighting it out. And unlike games like Magic the Gathering, in this one, you're kind of taking the role of a hero who's fighting the opponent directly. You're not summoning a bunch of creatures. You know, you're not playing out an army of guys like in Conquest or L5R or whatever. You are, it's head to head, and there's much less of the board state building than there is in some other games. Hamertron says, you still plan to do some primer vids of classes? Yeah, so I think primer vids of classes sound great. I did a Warrior deck tech video. Oops. Bit of a gaff there. He accidentally draws extra cards. Puts them back in. Okay. Yeah, so with respect to primer videos of classes, I think that's a great idea. I did a Warrior deck tech video that went into great detail on my specific deck. That one was actually over at the Fab Foundry. So they're a online store for the game that's been doing some that has been doing some content as well, and they have some cool stuff going on. So the Fab Foundry is a pretty interesting store, and I made a video for them that is discussing my Dorinthia deck in great detail. But I think I do want to do some more base level content. I'm gonna link to my Dorinthia deck tech for anyone who wants to check out a highly in depth demonstration of the of my warrior build. I think this is the right link that I'm going to throw in chat there. So that should be my Dorinthia deck tech video. And then I do want to do some videos that are more basic, where it's just like, this is how this class works. Like I want to do, here's the basics. Here's the basics for Arcane Rising. Here's the basics for Welcome to Wraith. Here's the basics for Crucible of War Blitz heroes also. And I think that's definitely something that would be cool to do for sure. And yeah, I may produce that. I may produce that at some time. I'm not entirely sure what my schedule is going to end up being like for produced videos. So right now I'm doing the scheduled streams Tuesdays and Thursdays, 5:00 p.m. Pacific, 8:00 p.m. Eastern. And then I do other streams like this one when the time comes for like games that I think might be interesting or similar. Yeah. Okay, so sorry, a little bit more on the game here, rather than just all meta all the time. A Crippling Crush is coming in for 11 Dominate. And it looks like our wizard has no hope of stopping that. He's going to block with 1 card, take 8 damage. That means he's going to get crushed and lose 2 cards from random discard in his hand. Brutal. So this Eternal landing the huge hit here, and randomly discards a Sonic Boom and a Forked Lightning. Ouch, ouch, ouch. Tough hit there for Tobias. And with Eternal also having healed heavily, this game, the first game was looking rough for Eternal, and the second game is looking rough for Tobias, with Eternal now above the starting level of life, and additionally having dealt huge damage to his opponent and knocked cards out of his hand. Tobias is in big trouble at this point. He just passes, draws up. And Eternal, let's see here. Eternal is going to use a, he's going to use a Showtime there. And so this card is going to allow him to, when this enters the arena, search your deck for Guardian attack action card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle at the beginning of your action phase, destroy this, and draw a card. He pulls another Crippling Crush into his hand. He is going big. His plan is probably to do another Dominated Crippling Crush and use that to close out the game next turn. So the question is, can Tobias do enough damage or force out enough blocks to stop it? And I feel like the answer is going to be no. And the reason that I say that is that Tobias, I don't know, it's gonna be a tough one. I don't know. He's got a Stir into Lesson in Lava. That's pretty good. But with 25 life for Eternal, I don't know if there's going to be a lot that I don't know if there's going to be a lot Tobias can do to break his defense here. Because Eternal is, I think, pretty confident in just being able to throw out that Crippling Crush next turn to win the game. And 6 damage coming in. And the confident Eternal just takes it. So we saw a Stir the Ether wins. You may play your next wizard non-attack action card this turn as though it were an instant, and if it has an effect that deals arcane damage, instead it deals that much arcane damage plus 3. Followed up by a Lesson in Lava, so that's going to deal 3 damage, and if it deals damage, you may search your deck for a wizard card with energy cost equal to or less than the damage dealt, reveal it, then shuffle your deck and put it on top. And he just dealt 6 damage, so this could potentially be a card with cost 6. I didn't see the card. He might have put it on the side. I'm going to ask them what the card was. Forked. Okay. So he's going for... Oh, man. He's going big. And they're looking through the discard pile here for some reason. Okay, so with Forked on top of the deck, he might do a Stir into Forked to try to do as much damage as possible. He could potentially do huge damage with that Forked Lightning. The question, though, can he do 19 damage? At least in theory, it's possible for a wizard to have a one-turn kill combo. He does have extra energy from the Find All Spring Tunic, the Energy Potion. I don't know. So this Forked Lightning, because modified damage effects can increase its damage twice, and it's then considered a single source of damage. You know, we could see like this red Stir giving it plus 3, so then it's dealing 10 total. And then with the 2 other buffs, it could go to 14 total. The problem is there isn't much to follow up with. And now the Crippling Crush. 11 dominated. Okay. Talismanic Lens used. 11 dominated damage coming in against Tobias here. He knows that he can't stop it. This is game over. But he has one thing going for him. The opportunity to combo out and blow up his opponent. Can he do 19 damage in one combo? I think almost certainly not, especially because Eternal has a 3-pitch card in hand that he could block with. I do actually think that in this situation, using the Crippling Crush was somewhat imprudent. I think he could have gone for Mangle and it still would have been guaranteed lethal. Or no, maybe not actually, because I think... let me take a quick look at that. I think actually Mangle would be just not quite enough. Yeah, Mangle's only 8. So Tobias could have survived it by blocking with 1 card plus his Tunic, taking 4 damage, still being alive. Here comes the combo. He's trying it. He's trying it. Oh. He uses his Storm Striders. He uses his Metacarpus Node. He uses his Crucible of Aetherweave. He's getting hugely buffed up. Now he's using his potion. 3 energy. Forked Lightning. Coming in for 4, 5, 6, 7. Coming in for 14 damage from this combo. But it's not enough. It's not enough. The 14 damage combo there takes Eternal down to 5. This Chain Lightning can't actually be played. I think he should have played this earlier. Yeah, he should have played this. Oh no, but then it would waste the Stir. So he actually can't play this. He could have played a Snapback, but not a Chain Lightning. So that's actually going to be the game. So even though he was able to do a big combo there with Stir into Forked and the other buffs, it was not enough damage. It was only 14 damage, and the Crippling Crush is then going to crush our Wizard player there, dealing a massive 11 damage and ending the game. Eternal says that was disgusting damage, and Tobias says the crushes were too fast. And the sigil's also super early. Yeah, the huge healing was pretty wild. Interesting situation. Tobias says, can't beat Rush Guardian. All right, so that was 1-1. Let's see if they do a rematch. I'm happy to stream it 2 out of 3. Yeah, Eternal says one last one to break the tie, and yeah, they're gonna do it. All right, so let's go on to the third round here. 2 out of 3. We saw a win for Tobias, a win for Eternal, and now the third round. Let's see who is gonna take the game this time. So Eternal rolling a 4 to go first. Tobias rolls, coming up with a 5, looks like. So, or he's re-rolling that one. Yeah, comes up with a 5. So it is going to be nice guy's choice. Tobias, that is. And he does choose to go second. Okay. Oh, man. Eternal has drawn the turn 1 Towering Titan, but does he dare play it and potentially get blasted by Kano's ability? Let's see if he dares. No, he's playing more conservative. Oh no, you know what? I was wrong. This was a red. I thought this was a blue Blessing of Deliverance. So he actually can't play the Towering Titan. But honestly, I'm not sure that he wants to play the Towering Titan anyway. It would open him up to just getting blasted by Kano top decks, at least conceivably. But you know, he either way he didn't do it. Night Goblin says another match. Yeah, so these are Blitz games, so they're really fast. Each one is like 20 to 30 minutes or something. So they're going for 2 out of 3 here. I think maybe before you tuned in, Tobias, the Wizard player, won the first one. Then Eternal won the second one, and now they're going to go for 2 out of 3. And Night Goblin says Apollo Creed, ding ding. Yeah, another match. There's going to be a rematch, and here it comes. So a hammer swing in for 6, defended for 6. And then I think we're going to see Kano's ability being used. We are. Kano's ability being used. Pitching the Time Snap Potion. We're going to see the top deck. Okay, so I think Eternal said stap, but I think it was a joke. So Kano top deck into Gaze the Ages. Another Wizard non-attack action turn has not been played this turn, so it's not going to hand. Just going to allow him to opt to, but Tobias can pitch the other Gaze the Ages that he has in hand, and then potentially use that opt with Kano's ability, and then play, like if he has a potion on top, he could play it, but it looks like he didn't find that. What? Okay. So now he's going to pass. So now we're finally going to do the Arsenal on draw. Wizard playing all those instants. This is a very complicated class relative to most. Earlier, Hamertron was talking about primer vids for classes. I am unqualified to do a primer vid for the Wizard, I think, or it would have to be a very limited one, simply because the complex gameplay of Wizard is not something that I'm too comfortable with. Okay. Kano's ability being used yet again. 3 energy, look at the top card of your deck. If it's a non-attack action card, you may banish it. If you do, you may play it this turn as though it were an instant. Goes for it, and there's an Ether Spindle coming in for 4. 4 damage, 4 arcane damage to target opposing hero, and it gets to opt X, where X is the damage dealt by the Ether Spindle. Let's see what happens here. Looks like it's going to be a pitch, 3 pitch there, 3 blocked. 3 blocked. What is in the arsenal here? It's a Debilitate, not the greatest card in the game. The 1 damage that gets through does enable that opt 1. Gaze the Ages then played to opt 2, and because another Wizard non-attack action card has been played, it's going to go back to hand. So a lot of opting going on here with looking at those top cards and choosing top or bottom. Gaze goes back to hand, but he's not going to do anything. No Kano trigger. He's just going to Arsenal and end turn. Okay. So interesting turn there. Not a lot... not a ton done. 1 damage did get through, though. There are some more opts. You know, he may be setting up for a big turn later. But now it's going to be... What is happening? Oh, so those are the three top decks from Blessing of Deliverance. At the beginning of your action phase, destroy this and reveal the top 3 cards. Gain 1 for each card with cost 3 or greater revealed that way. He finds 3. So healing up to 22 overall life. The heal there from EternalRMG... putting him above his starting life, which is definitely a nice thing to have against a Kano opponent. He has this Heart of Fyendal, which is a super rare card, and not that helpful in this matchup. It allows you to heal 1 if you pitch it while you have less life than your opponent, but he does not, to say the least. So he's going to lead off here. Looks like he's going to make a token and come in, then use Kano's ability, and then play the Debilitate, coming in for Strength 6 with Dominate. The Crush effect from this card is not relevant in this matchup. So I think that using the Dominate here may be, I don't know. He's trying to get some damage through, but it is going to leave him open to a potential follow-up attack from the Wizard. And yeah, this effect is not relevant here. It's going to be... So this is going to allow you to reduce the opponent's damage. And Eternal says, "Oh wait, I shouldn't have dominated. Not used to floating being actually good." So yeah, that's just what I was mentioning. So the Crush effect here doesn't even do anything. The Dominate allows him to push a little more damage through, but I think it's not all that worthwhile relative to just floating more. Honestly, that Debilitate is a very poor card against Wizard. Although, you know, having done it this way, it does mean that he's going to chip some damage in with his opponent only able to block 3 against this. So it is going to be 3 damage. I mean, that's not nothing, but it is not necessarily that good. And it does leave him very open with just a single red in hand. He's going to be very open now to a big attack coming in from his opponent. What? Oh, he blocks 3. Okay, so he actually played the Sindering Foresight. Okay. Blocking 3. Sindering Foresight, a pretty sweet card here. Another Crucible of War card. If it's not your turn, you may play this as though it were an instant. The next card you play this turn with an effect that deals arcane damage instead deals that much damage plus 1, and it opts 3. Wow, he's going big. He's using his Storm Striders here. He was thinking about blocking, but he decides against it. Storm Striders instant 1 energy and destroy it. You may play your next Wizard non-attack action card this turn as though it were an instant. It also has Arcane Barrier too. So then, oh, he's going big. Let's see what happens. Eternal says Pain. The Storm Striders and the Crucible of Aetherweave both being used here. So that's going to be plus 1 damage, and he can play something as an instant. And the Metacarpus node being used here. This is big. Pitches Gaze to play an Ether Spindle, coming in at strength 7 with all those buffs. This is going to allow him to opt 7 as well as doing 7 damage. And then I think we're going to see the opt 7 Kano's ability used. I don't know why he didn't opt. Oh, Blazing Ether. I guess he didn't opt because he already had the card that he most wanted there. Or no, now he's going to opt. Okay, he's going to opt. Yeah, so he opts 7, and then he's going to follow up with that Blazing Ether for 7 damage. That is brutal. So I think that the going so big with that attack is definitely coming back to bite Eternal. Honestly, using that attack is probably worse than swinging a Nothos for 6. As the Crush effect is just not relevant, and giving it Dominate is, you know, it's whatever. You know, Tobias is not even blocking this. He doesn't care about Dominate. He's going to take 6 damage, but it looks like he might well do 14 damage. And that's definitely a good trade for a Wizard player. Especially because we are not seeing that Arcanite Skullcap equipped. So even though it looks like he's likely going to take Eternal to lower life than him, it is not going to enable a stronger defense. It's just going to hit him. Okay, so now he's using that Kano ability. Yep. There's the Blazing Ether. 7 damage coming in. Eternal. It looked like he was in a good spot, but he's getting hit hard this time. Down to 8 life. On the plus side for him, that Debilitate now lands for 6 damage, putting Nice Guy down to 9 life, but the -2 attack is just not relevant on a class that doesn't run physical attacks. So most Wizard decks do not play... Most Wizard decks in constructed formats do not run physical attacks. In Classic, Constructed, and Blitz, most Wizard decks are pure Arcane. If you're going to play in a limited format, it's much more likely that a Wizard deck will be running some physical attacks, and things that debuff physical attacks or have physical armor are going to be less janky there. But in this situation, it's a little different. Oh, wow. I have Ophidia in the hand, so the big resource allowing him to pitch this and opt 2. And additionally, he has a lot of blue. In fact, he has an all blue hand, so we could see a lot of Kano triggers this turn potentially. This could be very dangerous, especially with the opt from that eye and from the still unused talismanic lens here, which he could destroy for another opt too. Very interesting situation. Pitching for 4. He plays an Emerging Dominance. At the beginning of your action phase, destroy Emerging Dominance, and the next Guardian attack action card you play this turn gets +3 and Dominate. Okay, so he made a token, he played Emerging Dominance, he still has 1 floating, now he's going to end his turn. Kano's ability used. So Emerging Dominance for +3 and Dominate, if he can actually play the Crippling Crush that he has, it's going to come in at Strength 14, which Dominate, which will actually be lethal. But before he can do that, we're going to see some Kano use here, and a Snapback coming in for 4 damage. 3 damage with the +1 from the Crucible. Probably going to pitch that card in hand to block completely. Or no, he can't. He only has 3 Arcane Barrier, so he can block 3 of it. Take 1. So he blocks 3 and takes 1. Kano ability used again. Because of that huge opt from previous, Tobias, I think in theory, knows a lot about what he's going to see here. Another pitch for another Kano trigger. So he got that potion out, and now he's going to use his ability again. Eternal says opt 7 was huge, and yeah, I think it was. I think Eternal really kind of put himself in a bad spot by using that Dominate unnecessarily and getting hit hard by the counterattack, but the game's not over yet. Tobias sees a Reverberate here, but it is actually only a blue Reverberate. It does come in here, but it's only 1 damage, and it can just be blocked. There's 1 energy floating. The floating energy is used to block that, and that is shut down. So that was not incredibly useful to play. But, he did get that potion out, and he did manage to get 1 damage through with the snapback, so it wasn't nothing. But Eternal might now be in a position to close out the game. Eternal can almost certainly get lethal this turn with that Emerging Dominance into the Crippling Crush. I think that is game over if there's nothing from, there's no big combo from Tobias. So this is, at the beginning of your action phase, destroy this, and then the next Guardian attack action card you play this turn gains +3 and Dominate. So then he plays the Crippling Crush, and it's at Strength 14 with Dominate. There's no way for our man Tobias to stop that. So once again, he is put into the opportunity of having to find a combo to win the game. Can he do it? This time, though, his opponent is only at 7 life instead of the huge amount that he had previously, though there are some cards left in hand with which to block. Eternal says 14 Dominate. Don't do 19 damage, please. Here we go. Can Tobias combo it out? This is an interesting thing that happens sometimes when you're playing with Wizard. You get these situations where it's like, all right, man, one way or another, one of us is going to die this turn. The question is just which one it is. And I think that's where we are now. And so that is really the big question. Who is going to die this turn and who is going to live? And I think, well, let's see. Let's see what he can do. Crucible. Sonic Boom coming in for 4. If it deals damage, look at the top card of your deck. If it's a wizard non-attack action card, you may banish it. If you do, you may play it this turn as though it were an instant, and it costs X less to play, where X is the damage dealt. Eternal throws out another blue card, blocking for 3. So it's only going to be 1 damage that gets through, but the 1 damage is enough to pull this Chain Lightning and play it. Chain Lightning coming in for another 3 damage. 3 damage. Blocked. No cards left in hand. But this does also mean you may play your next wizard non-attack action card this turn as though it were an instant. Oh, but he's off by 1. So if he had Stir the Ether Winds into Voltic Bolt, it would be lethal. But he only has 3 energy with his Potion and Tunic. He's off by 1 energy to do the lethal combo. Oh, the pain. Off by 1. If he had 1 more energy, this would be game over. But as it stands, it looks like Eternal is going to land that crippling crush, and it will destroy Tobias for this game. Yeah, he can only block for 4, even if he blocks with his Tunic. Okay, but he still has a chance. He still has a chance to do the Panic Kano. Can the Panic Kano save him? Potion used. Tunic used. The Panic Kano. Tome of Aetherwind. That's actually big. He can play the Tome of Aetherwind and draw 2 cards. So he's asking, does that trigger? Okay, so I actually don't know this because I don't play Wizard. Hammertron says, Wizard feels like brain ache to play in a long tournament. Yeah, I agree. Oops. Okay, so he puts it there and doesn't play it because he doesn't want to waste his Chain Lightning trigger. Instead, he plays the Stir. And now he's going to draw 2. Okay, so he has 1 floating, but he drew 2 cards. He has the Stir. Next one is +3. I actually think he has it. I think he has lethal. Yeah, he can pitch this Sonic Boom and play the Forked, and he'll win the game. He's done it. The Panic top decks have saved Tobias, I think, and he is going to be the winner of this game. I believe that's going to be that. He wasn't able to do the combo from hand, but his Stir the Aetherwind... Or no, wait, he can't. Because the Tome uses the instant from Stir. Yeah, you may play your next wizard non-attack action card this turn as though it were an instant. Oh, actually, Stir is completely wasted with this timing. Because it only applies to the next one, so I think actually the Tome wasted the Stir. Yeah, so I think he had to use the Tome before this. I don't know. It's a tough situation, but I think the timing, I thought he had won, but I think that the Stir actually wasted the, I think that the Tome actually wasted the Stir, and now he can't play buffed by Stir, nor does he actually have the free instant. So that's actually looking really bad for him. You know, Hammertron says that Wizard feels like brain ache to play in a long tournament. Well, it feels like brain ache for me just casting it. I'm asking them to ask the rules discussion on Discord. I think he did waste it, though. All right, so yeah, we're having a quick pause here for a rules discussion. So they're saying let's play it like this for now. So if Tome does waste Stir, it's going to be another Panic top deck, but I think that's going to be game over. Blazing Ether. How much damage has been dealt? Blazing Ether. I think only 1 damage has been dealt. Well, either way, even if it's 4, I think it's actually only 1, but even if it's 4, Eternal will live through it either way. So after all that craziness, I think it ended up not working out. I thought for a moment he had won, but if Tome wastes Stir, then he can't win. Very interesting game. Weird rules situation at the end. So if it ends up that the Tome does not waste Stir, then Tobias would win. But we currently believe that it does, which would indicate that that's that. All right. Eternal says, I think just tanking, healing, and hitting with the hammer is a better strat. So, but yeah. So very odd state of affairs there at the end with the rules situation. But it looks like it did end up with a Guardian win if the rule works the way that we thought. But if for some reason the Tome doesn't waste the Stir, then the Wizard will win the game, as I was getting excited about before I realized the timing situation there. So, you know, this one is going to be one of those things where we may have to revisit it later once the ruling is found. I am not an expert on Wizard. They're very complicated with the timing, much more so. I'm a simple man. I play Warrior, and I buff my sword and I swing my sword. And I'm definitely not an expert with these complicated Wizard timings, but it's one of those things. In any case, those I think were 3 quick and interesting games between a Guardian and a Wizard. And I'm extra excited to have streamed this because Guardian and Wizard are the 2 classes that I have streamed the least number of games for. I have actually added a new feature onto my YouTube. So if you go to, if you type TowerNumberNine in on YouTube, you can find my channel where I upload some of the best games from the stream. And if you go and check that out, I have started to create playlists where if you want to find like just ninja games or just warrior games or just games that I personally have played in, you can go on the relevant playlist, and like I have them by class, and then I have one for my own games as well. And so the Wizard playlist is, I believe, currently empty. So when I upload this game, when I upload the video of these games sometime tomorrow, it's going to be the first entry in the Wizard playlist, so that we're going to have the opportunity for Wizard players to see some stuff in action. And Eternal says, yeah, thanks. I like Wizard matchup a lot more than Warrior. Warrior is the worst. Hate him. Yeah, Warrior is my favorite. I enjoy playing Warrior, but Warrior is very difficult to defend against relative to some of the other classes, and it can definitely be a strange experience. All right, guys, that's going to do it for this broadcast. I will be on again later today. I'm going to be on at 5 o'clock p.m. for the standard Tuesday, Thursday scheduled stream. And I think on that Thursday broadcast, I'm going to be doing some recorded games with me playing Ninja against a Warrior, which is typically considered a difficult matchup, and we will see how I can do in that tough matchup. So that's going to do it for this stream, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll be back later with some more Flesh and Blood and maybe some Star Wars Legion content as well. Thanks again for watching, and I will catch you later.